solid. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2021 Mazda CX-30. So first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to Mazda of Southtown for providing us with the CX-30. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's just get right into the video. Now, under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter four-cylinder that goes through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 24 around town, and then 31 on the highway, with power outputs being 186 horsepower and then 186 pound-feet of torque. Now, let's go over the front end of the CX-30, which is actually my favorite part on this vehicle. I think the front end of Mazdas in general is just really beautiful. So first off, with the hood, I love how they have the two lines that come up here. It breaks things up on the hood just slightly, and then the Mazda logo actually doubles as a sensor nowadays, which is pretty neat. And then you can see the lights, which actually they popped off, but you could see that they're full LEDs here at the front. And then you've got the plastic molding there at the bottom. Obviously, that's going to be a lot less expensive to replace if you do take this off-roading and damage the bottom part versus if it was painted and everything, and it'll hold up a lot better to rock chips actually. So definitely a cool little touch right there. But overall, the front end super beautiful, and it's like the distinctive Mazda front end design. Now around the side here, we've got two 15mm tires and 18-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you can see you've got the plastic molding all along the side of the vehicle itself. Again, it's going to hold up a lot better than if it was fully painted. And then you can see the mirror there at the top. But other than that, here's kind of like a side-ish angle. I know it's kind of from the front as well, but again, you kind of have that like sleek Mazda design. Here is the Mazda key fob for the CX-30. You can see you've got the unlock and the lock function, and then you've got that for the alarm. Other than that, you can see the rest of the keys pretty much blank, which is pretty neat actually, because they make it so that it has this just nice clean design for the fob itself. And other than that, let's head to the back. Now, actually coming here into the rear, the storage space back here is actually pretty ample. I mean, you guys can see it's a good amount. And then because it's obviously an SUV, crossover, whatever you want to call it, the higher hatch allows for a little bit more height there in the storage space. And then we do get a spare tire just underneath here. You can fold down the seats if you do need a little bit of extra storage, but other than that, the back's pretty simple. You still get the lock function, so you can lock everything from the rear here, and then you just throw it back down, which every single SUV has this little grab handle. I'm guessing this is just for like short people, so you can like grab it, because you actually have to like grab onto like the little license plate area here, and then that's what is the easier way to throw it down. Let's go over the design here in the rear. So they really haven't changed things from when they just released the CX-30, but it still looks really good here at the back end. So you can see that you've got the circular LED lights here in the back, and then I just love the overall design language with the lights. Again, super signature to Mazda, but it definitely has this just really nice sharp look to it. Definitely makes the car look more like a luxury vehicle than anything else. And then we've got the dual outlet exhaust tips there at the bottom. And other than that, it's a good looking back end, and it definitely has that like round shape that you associate with an SUV. Now, coming to the rear, I absolutely love the interior on this particular vehicle. So you actually have this kind of like interesting layers of trim here. So it's kind of like harder touch up here, but then you've got softer touch down here. And then you have blue leather to accent it. You almost never see blue leather in a car. I'm a huge fan of it. The white contrasted stitching looks nice against it as well. And then coming over to the seats, you've got normal seats that are in black leather. So even though you've got that blue accent on the armrest, the seats are black, so you don't have to worry about, well, having blue seats. And I mean, that might not be the easiest to clean. But actually popping in here, I've got to duck just a little bit. If you guys are wondering, I'm 5'11", and in terms of headroom back here, it's actually pretty good. And then legroom is decent as well. I've got the driver's seat about where I would be sitting with it, so you guys can kind of get an idea of that. And then pulling the little armrest down here, you do get a couple of cup holders, and the rear passengers do get a couple vents here for some extra airflow. And we've got more of that blue leather. Huge fan. Coming up to the front, we do get keyless entry, and there is blind spot monitoring there in the mirror. And then the other thing to note is you can see that they have this continuous body line that goes right there with the chrome accenting. But actually looking at the door panel here in the front, again, you can see you've got more of the blue leather accenting here, and then it comes down below. You've got all of the window controls right there. You've got the door lock and unlock, but I just love the contrast with the blue against the black here on the door panel. And then coming here to the seats, again, similar in basically design as the rear seats. You just got a little bit bigger bolsters, but you got that same smooth leather. You guys can see just like how soft this is to the touch, and it's very, very smooth. And then coming down here, you can see you've got the adjustments for the seats. And then here's what the pedals look like. You actually get custom CX-30 mats. There's your little hood latch release. And then we do get memory seats here in this package. And then you can see that that's actually for the off-road. Again, it's supposed to be an SUV, so you got to have that whole setup right there. But there is one more look before we pop in. Now to start her up, if you guys notice when I press the brake, it illuminates with the little green light to let you know that you're ready to go. And everything comes on to life. And you get that chime telling you that I need to put my seatbelt on. Here's the steering wheel in the CX-30. I love how open the steering wheel is. It just has this really cool like light look to it. And then you do get black stitching on the inside of the steering wheel, and then black leather, really smooth all around with the leather. And then you can see you do get adaptive cruise control. And then this is like your radio, volume controls, phone controls, all of that normal stuff. You got the little light stock right over there. And then you do have the stock for the windshield wipers. And that is everything for the steering wheel. Actually popping into the center stack itself, RPMs over on the left side, and then right there in the center, you can see that it actually is in kilometers per hour. We'll change that in just a little bit, but you can see there's a couple different screens that you can scroll through, just give you different bits of information on the vehicle. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to use, and it's cool that it's like a full digital readout that'll actually like physically change that much. Now here's the center infotainment system. Now it is not a touch screen, but before we go over that, you can see the backup camera, so that pops up and it does tilt the mirror down if you are wondering on that. Resolution on it's good, and you can see that the just overall look of it is actually pretty decent. Now with the infotainment system itself, again, it's not a touchscreen, but you can see it's easy enough to use with the little dial. I'll show you the dial in just a little bit, but you can see going into all the functions, again, it's really easy to use. It's really intuitive. And so I don't really have like a desire to have this be a touchscreen. It'd be cool, but it works really good as is. Now we do have a separate little area for the climate controls. It is a dual zone climate, and then this is actually what you adjust for the different like direction of the fan. So you can see as I press that, that'll actually change the fan direction if you're wondering, because it took me a second when I looked at this. I was like, wait a second, where is it? You do get heated seats here at the front, and then you can see you've got some storage down there, a little USB, and then we've got a couple cup holders. Here's the shifter for the 6-speed automatic. Yes, you can manually shift the gears yourself if you want. You do have a sport mode, which will pop up here in the center screen. So you can see you've got the sport, and then you push it down, and then you've got it off. So you just basically have a sport mode and a normal mode. Keep it simple. Got a parking brake right there, your auto hold to hold you on hills. And then this is what controls the infotainment system. You can see that you've got like the music button, home screen button, the back button, and then that is for the navigation. And then your volume button and favorite buttons over here. Remember, you do get those controls on the steering wheel as well, so they doubled up on the buttons right there with that. And then coming over here again, you guys remember the center console finished in blue, which is pretty cool. So you can slide it backwards and forwards just by grabbing that, and then you have to pull it back to open it up. And you can see storage space in here is pretty good, and then you've got a couple more areas where you can charge devices. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but again, love the blue. Now before we get into the glove box, we've got more blue with the stitching on the dash, which again looks so cool against the black. And by the way, you guys can see this is all like soft touch up here, just all looks really nice. Definitely a really premium interior. And then you can see the body line here with this coming down, or I shouldn't say body line, but the trim coming down here with the vents, just pulls everything together. Looks really nice. Ton of attention paid to detail, but got the owner's manual in there. There's a glove box, and that's all she wrote for that. Up top here, got a little sunglass holder, and then we do get a sunroof in this leather colored headliner with the CX-30, and other than that, the top is super simple, so there's not much else for me to say. I really want you guys to pay attention to, again, just the design they have done with everything pulled together, just with the materials used and the design on this. It's way ahead most other competitors in this price range. Definitely has more of a luxury car feel to it. And if you're wondering on the price, $28,000 before any type of market adjustment is the sticker price for this particular one, which, I mean, again, just compared to the competitors from a price point standpoint, that's really solid. That all being said, let's take the CX-30 out and see how it drives. Sometimes I just can't find the stop start button. Sorry guys. Let's quick talk about visibility here in the CX-30 before we set off. So you can see visibility over the hood is really solid. Here's your visibility through both of the mirrors. And then here's the visibility all throughout the rear. So you can see in there's a little bit of a blind spot, but remember, it does have blind spot monitoring, so that definitely helps out with that. And that all being said, let's actually set off. I'm setting off here in the CX-30, and you guys can remember, I really like this vehicle just as like an overall package, especially compared to what it competes against, which we'll get later in the driving portion. But initially setting off here, overall with the driving experience, smooth ride quality. You can see going over little manholes like that doesn't upset the car really at all. And just again, from the ride quality perspective, it's smooth, it's quiet. You definitely get that luxury car feel, and I am like way too close. There we go. That was like weird with my seating position. I felt like I was like jumbled up at the front, but also stopping there, brakes, they're good. Now this is gonna be like our minor acceleration in the CX-30. So just doing like a minor acceleration, getting up to speed, does it completely fine, no issues there. But we got to get like our full-blown acceleration here. This will be the exciting part as always. Let's see how she goes. That's solid. Yeah, so doing like the full-blown acceleration, it's actually really good compared to its competitors, and that's what I really wanted to hit home with on this video. Is I know I'm gonna get a lot of comments, oh, it's an SUV, it's a CUV, it's whatever, it's a crossover under 200 horsepower. However, the main competitor against this, especially here in Utah, is the Subaru Crosstrek, and the Crosstrek only has like 152 horsepower. This has 186. This definitely feels a lot peppier than the Crosstrek, and it's got a torque converter automatic. The Crosstrek has a CVT, so you're kind of winning with the transmission too, because this just has like an overall package. Might not get as good fuel economy, but I think the fuel economy is the same on them anyways. But it's just going to shift so much smoother than a CVT transmission, and so against this car's main competitor, it has more power, it has a more desirable transmission, nicer interior. The exterior look, I like the Crosstrek. I think it's a good looking vehicle. I think this looks more luxury. The Crosstrek kind of looks like more on the off-roady, sporty side, right? But again, this has that luxury car look, luxury car interior. I just don't really think there's anything else that compares with this car in the segment right now. Like, everything else is about the same in price as this, has a crappier interior, I'm just gonna say it, and exterior styling, that's gonna be up to whatever your preference is, but like everything else just doesn't seem to hold up against the CX-30. So if this is the type of vehicle you're looking at, you have to at least check out the CX-30, but I really just think this is the one to go for. Like right now in this segment, this is the one that I think is the best. Now that is going to sum things up for our video on the 2021 Mazda CX-30. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to Southtown Mazda for providing us with the CX-30. Check out their inventory in the link below. I will see all of you in that next video.